All right. Are we up and running on Twitch? We should be shortly. Are we up and running on YouTube? We should be any moment now. Not quite, not quite. All right, we're live on Twitch. YouTube is taking its time. All right, the monitoring is up and running. What about this one? Is this... Okay, there we go. And let's mute that. Actually, let's unmute it. Okay, there we go. And that's working. Awesome. Welcome to Code Hangout number 159. Today, we're going to work on inserting into the database. Updates and inserts and all that stuff. I had to shut down the database. So right now, everything has a 150 millisecond delay because it basically tries to connect to the database, then times out after 150 milliseconds. I had to do that because somebody needed to update some stuff, and that's currently not supported. I've been working on this all week. I've been kind of... Most of the work was actually on the raw data of the database. I kind of combined a bunch of data and recreate, like, updated and rebuilt some of the import scripts. So less data is stored, and it's all kind of in one place now. But basically, the tricky part is that we have to replicate this process, not in the import script, but in the server in real time. And it's a little dodgy because it does a whole bunch of things. It does some error correction and so on. So we have to change the process a little bit because we obviously can't manually fix data in real time on the live server. So it'll have basically a validation step. So it basically tries to run all of this. And if it fails at any stage, it just goes back, hey, there's a problem with this data. Which is good because we'd rather not get the bad data in the database and let the user know that there's a problem rather than having users create puzzles with corrupted data and then having to restart. Let me try to figure out where I was last time. So I had a bit of a something going on here for testing. I think I had this piece of code, and I think right now I'm disconnecting the actual writing to the database. So I was working on updating existing data, but we actually want to create new data. So I think what we want to do is we want to take this one and basically say, hey, let's create a new database, right? A new whatchamacallit. I also built this to detect iOS. I'll look into this at another time. But basically, I want to have something here without a key. So we'll have a short ID. And I think... I mean, we have this data. It'll exist in the database, but we can just short circuit that check. And we'll just create test in new 01. And instead of update link, we're gonna call whatever the route is that isn't update. API puzzle, admin, handle admin create link. All right. So in theory, I should be able to just run this. And that's it. So I think we can actually do this. We can probably do this. Then this can just become body. And then we can do this. And then we can do this. Like that. So if we run this in here, let's kill that. Okay, just abort. And we'll go here, clear that out. We run that. Unexpected string. Don't know why there's a $sign there. But which string is unexpected? Oh. Blip, 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 blip. Short ID. And puzzle. Right. That was not legal object syntax. Okay, and we'll basically get here, and I was in the process of basically moving things into this new PuzzleDB library one by one, and hopefully kind of finding it all there bit by bit, right? Okay, let's see. I gotta get myself back into the headspace because I didn't touch this the last 2 days, and I was working on that quite a bit early in the week. So, sure that it doesn't exist. I put in a lot of logging and stuff, so it'll actually tell me where things are. And of course, I'm making a lot of changes because I'm also refactoring all of the Puzzle API stuff out of the main server file, which I should have done that as a separate step, but I just don't have the time to do things properly all the time. All right, let's see. So we're hitting create link, and I've moved all of these out of there. Okay, and I was actually yeah, okay, I was working on update. Wait, handle create link, yeah, and handle admin update link is using new stuff here, yeah. Okay. So that's what I've done, and that's changed quite a bit. So if we're looking at our diff here, let's make this bigger. Yeah, like I moved a lot of stuff out of there. All right, let's see. So when we have a create call, we want to fail if it exists, I think. And the create call doesn't require an API key. That's kind of one of the two main differences. And here we got the course header stuff, admin create link body, and that's really the call we care about. Okay, so we have update link and we have create link. So, and that's the thing. And now this gets pushed into our PuzzleDB here. We'll still do the API start request, and then none of this should happen. And here there should be no key. So if we output that, I'm going to make that quite small. And then basically we'll have something like that. Create short ID, and we'll do something like res equal turn res, like that. And then create short ID obviously don't exist here. All right, and then we'll move over here and we'll make it exist. So update short ID is what I've worked on previously. It's not completed, but create short ID is going to be simpler. So I think we'll start with that one, and a lot of these are kind of going to be kind of similar. A lot of these bits. Right? All right, so we get to here. And res is a promise. And it's pending. Okay, because we didn't wait for it. So if we wait for it, we get undefined back. And we're hitting create short ID. All right, so basically here we just have to... Now, it's not as simple as checking if the data exists because, like, well, I think at the moment we'll... Yeah, so one of the problems I have is that if the data exists with another short ID, we don't want to recreate the data, right? So the first check will be for the short ID. But we'll see how that goes from there. So we'll say something like... and ideally, we don't use API puzzles at all. So we'll just use that one. And now we're gonna bind it by the short ID, and we're just gonna output what doc contains, because ideally doc will have an error, right? Because it should be new. So if I do this, what do we get to? Mongo, okay, because the Mongo service is powered down at the moment. Except, is it? Didn't I just connect here? Did I? I think I might have shut it down here for testing. Or I can't press M to get to Mongo. Here we go. No, it's running. What do you mean? Connection 2 timed out. Connection 2 timed out. What do you mean by that? Did I... Huh. Did I do something? I might have changed something that sort of prevents the database from being created properly. So let us review the code that does the database connection. I believe it's under init. We have PuzzleDB init, new init ops, DB client. If I do that, yeah, we have a database client here. Okay. So if I do something like let boom, waiting for file, DB is not defined. This.db. All right. If I do this, await dot find $1 count. Let us quickly look that up. MongoDB Node.js count of documents. Count documents. Int. There's a built-in index. Often the ID uses this technique only when calling count with an empty query parameter. So if I do this, await puzzleinfo.count documents with an empty query parameter 75828. Okay, so we are connected. Okay, so what's the problem? Okay, now there isn't a problem. Well, screw you. All right. Okay. Well, that works now suddenly. Okay, well, let's go back to actually implementing this stuff then. So when we're executing that, document comes back as null. Okay, so now we need a contrary test with a URL that exists. So something like this one. So let's make the same call, but, or fog01 I think was, something like that. I'll put that in here. And on this one, we get a result back, right? So we can say if doc equals null, console.log short ID does not exist. Else short ID does already exist. So here it should say does already exist, and here it should say does not exist. All right, let's do does not exist first. So that's the actual case where we want to just create stuff, right? So now this is where we're gonna have to do all that work, and by all that work I mean all the work that the update, not this one, the import script had to do. Build PuzzleDB, I believe. All right. And it was quite a little bit that it had to do here. So we had to do validate puzzle raw. We had to check if it's replay. So let's just write these out here. And maybe we'll encapsulate them into something, right? So maybe we'll call it something like parse puzzle raw. Puzzle raw. And we ignore short ID for now. Right. And I'm kind of in the wrong place here. Create short ID. So, parse puzzle raw. Parse puzzle raw. Let puzzle data equals this dot group. Puzzle. All right, and that's basically what we need to fill in now. And maybe we'll just execute this on startup, and then every time I save it, it just runs it. So let us just do something like that, or like that. And we'll just say, after wherever we do the thing, after init, let's just say set timeout. Console.log run test. And we'll say we'll run it after 500 milliseconds. And we'll do this dot create short ID. This and this is the puzzle data. Boom. No JSON here. Let res equals our weight. Like that. And every time I press Control S, this should save and restart. All right, and that needs to be an async function. There we go. News. Okay, so now this goes straight into parse puzzle raw, and parse puzzle raw needs to do what this thing does. And I'm gonna write these down here. I'm gonna say check for replay data, run validate puzzle raw, and I guess we'll just say that, you know, and we'll do a big try catch finally around that. And maybe we don't need these. I'll just do this for now. And then we'll have a couple of constants, re format replay. If I remember replay, puzzle raw. And at this point, I think we'll just wanna, we just wanna throw, hey Ranks, how are you doing? I think from here we can just throw at any stage where the data is invalid. And then we'll have a semblance of data validation for puzzle data, which would be nice. Very nice. All right, so new error, replay format not supported. All right. Step 2 is the validate call. We'll do this. Format puzzle data. And I think I can let these early, but I don't think I need to here. I can just do that. And then I can plug these out. Oop. And we'll get the puzzle data out of there as well. And then we'll basically just step-by-step replicate everything we've done in the import script. And once I get the hang of it, I'm gonna go a little quicker. So we're mostly just interested in the sort of final stage. So validate, and we have to obviously import all this stuff. So validate puzzle raw doesn't exist. And then we'll have to look for it and bring it in. And validate puzzle raw potentially brings in a little bit of... here we go. I was going to say it brings in some... Validate is not a function. Brings in some... what's the word that I'm looking for? Baggage. That's the word. It brings in some baggage. And I created that file, PuzzleDB utils. But I think I might have created it in the wrong... No, here it is. PuzzleDB utils, right? And it should be exporting that. And we should be outputting PuzzleDB utils up here. Nope. PuzzleDB utils should get imported from there. Oh, but there's nothing there. PuzzleDB utils. Puzzle. That is not the right syntax. Oh, exports. Great. All right. All right. And now we kind of have to fill them in, right? So we'll have... and then maybe I'll bring them down here. So now we need the split format function. Split format puzzles, and that comes in from puzzle loader. So it's going to be somewhere around here. Validate JSON. And then probably save, unzip, and all these others. I'll do that. Save decompress. Save decode URI component. Now that one, I'm pretty sure... Nope, I just replicated it. All right, fair enough. So we just have a bunch of validation functions here. Oh, okay. Error involved compression at puzzle data was decomp, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now we're actually getting to an error in the puzzle data. Now, this puzzle data shouldn't be erroneous, except it might be. So this puzzle data is fpuzz. So it should be correctly compressed. All right, so we're over here and we're running into a problem. So let's see what we have at this point. And what we get after this decomp press call. And then we'll see which one is causing the problem. So, decompression doesn't seem to work on this one. Save decompress puzzle data. All right, let's see. This, I guess, is not as safe as I would like it to be. Save decompress puzzle data. So, what does it do? It runs the decompress, and then there's a couple of checks, and then it tries with a fix f puzzle slashes yada yada. Now these calls I'm not seeing in the log. Is it because it's using a different function? Parse puzzle raw, puzzle data, decomp, save decomp. We should see this here. Are we not getting to here? Oh, no, I was just scrolled up. Okay. So we get to here. If data is... What? I'm seeing this. And then I'm seeing this. Is it async? No. If data is undefined, it should exit, except it isn't. Console.log. Old school. 1, 2, 3. Ah, wait. Does that mean we're getting an exception and we're not doing anything about it? That would explain it. Decompress puzzle. Okay. That's the problem with quiet errors. But obviously, if you're importing 100,000 things and and it's your validation function, you're expecting errors, then you have to kind of silence them. All right. We're missing decompress puzzle. Now, decompress puzzle is pulled in from load f puzzle. And load f puzzle comes from this place. Oh, and we're in this format here. All right, that's not... It's... Whoa, no, that's not great. But it is the world we live in, unfortunately. It's like one reason why I'm tempted to use Bun. Bun. All right. Open containing folder. We need fpuzzles decoder, which exists in lib format. I'll have to afterwards check that they're all the same versions and up to date and all that stuff. All right, so success. Okay. Step by step. Let us not silence the exceptions, though. Okay, so we have puzzle data, we have decomp. We have a format, we have puzzle data. Right. So, what's the next step? Now we have to continue. After we've done this, and here we're checking for errors and all that stuff. Now we're creating a hash. It's the next step. All right. Hash. All right, we have a hash. And then we're doing one of these checks. Now, the hardest thing here will be to make sure we're actually catching all the bad versions of data, because obviously here I don't have easy test samples of data that are broken, all that stuff. So if yada 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 or hash is null, we break. So at this point we're actually gonna throw error decoding, throw new error unable to decode puzzle data. Something like that. Of course, in this case, we will be able to do so. So then we create a puzzle info block of data that looks something like this, which currently won't have any short IDs in it. So we'll just give it an empty list like that. And if I do this, all right, it looks something like that. And we should be pretty close to what's in the database already, minus short IDs, right? So we have our hash, we have the format, we have puzzle raw, we have puzzle data, we have a short IDs array, we don't have puzzle JSON. Okay, and that's kind of where we continue here. So here we kind of merge these together. And then, yes, okay, so this is now the next phase. And this is where we do kind of some conflict checking with the hashes. But we'll actually continue. We'll build the whole thing. We're doing it only for one, so we don't really care if it takes a couple of milliseconds more or less or whatever. By the way, ranks, if you have any comments or suggestions or questions, let me know. This is quite in your wheelhouse in terms of, you know, code that you're familiar with and stuff that you probably know better than me, actually. And I am not a MongoDB expert, so I'll be fumbling a little bit here. So if we run something like this, what do we get? Yeah, we don't want to do the continue here. We'll basically want to do a throw. Throw, new error, invalid format. And we'll just have a bunch of throw situations. And we'll probably then remove the catch at the end and just put it up a level up. Okay, no worries, no worries. This is just me filling in known blanks in a basically just basic rest, not rest, in a, you know, input-output thing. Save JSON, parse puzzle data. Yeah, okay, so, and I'm just kind of refactoring and moving code from one place to another and all that sort of thing, so hopefully I don't have to rewrite too much. All right. And a lot of these might go into the utils, actually. Save JSON puzzle. Save JSON parse puzzle data. This looks very much like validate JSON. It's the same thing, isn't it? So if I maybe move this up top now, that'll make a little bit more sense. And then we can find save JSON parse puzzle. So that's just validate JSON. Wait, there's a difference, right? I think the validate JSON. No, it does parse it. If type of data is not equal string, return data. That's the only difference here. And here we throw the error, while here we return false. I think I'm okay with just throwing the error again here. And then catching it the level up. All right, unzip is not defined. Yeah. Okay. We'll bring that in from the puzzle zipper. And the puzzle zipper might not exist in this place. Puzzle zipper lib. Nope, it does exist. All right, again, we might have to improve on this. And what's else? It's not validation. Yeah, okay, makes sense. So we're hitting validate JSON, we're hitting PuzzleDB, blah 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 blah, parse puzzle raw 272. Then we hit validate puzzle raw 58. Puzzle data return if. Okay, I think the problem here is because we changed from returning false to throwing exceptions. Right? Is not valid JSON. Yeah, because we're depending on this returning false instead of throwing the exception, because we're going to execute that multiple times. All right, so there's a small difference between the two, but I don't think it warrants having two almost identical functions. So I guess we'll have to... No. All right, I think we'll go back to doing another try catch here. And then here return false. Something like that. I wish we could do this, just a single line, try, return, catch, return, but yeah. All right. And now we're getting to puzzle info, right? We have puzzle data, format. We have format, puzzle data. Then we have hash. Then we have puzzle info here. And now we're getting to here. And the next step is console.log author. And I don't think we've parsed any of these yet. JSON. Counter ID. We just have to create the rest of these. Ooh. All right. And now we are here. But JSON now exists. So the next step is see how we're getting all this other stuff out of the JSON, I'm guessing. So we now are here. And we can basically do these four right after JSON. We'll do something like that. And get puzzle meta prop is probably another helper function we need to bring in. And we'll probably need that as well. And we'll just put that here. And we'll bring these in from there. Like that. Create counter ID, same thing. And yes, I could bring them all in immediately, but I want to bring them in one by one so I don't bring anything in that we're not actually using. And of course, it might bite me in the butt because there might be some things that are only used under very, very rare circumstances or whatever. But it is what it is. All right. Next step, I think, is the progress IDs. So after we've got the author and all that stuff, we're up to here. So basically that's all that's left. Yep, get rid of that. Get rid of that. If JSON.id, we get to here. Progress ID partition, okay. I think we're just generating all the possible progress IDs at this point. And then I think we'll just create a set at the end. Something like that. Then we don't have to, we'll just push them all in there. Or use fpuz. Alright. Create fpuz ID is not defined. Sure. We'll get that out of load fpuzzles. But yeah, I wonder if these should go into here eventually. But for now, I'm fine making that a dependency here. We'll probably need them all anyways in the end. Bring that in there. All right, create fpuz ID is not a function. Now I'm guessing that's because this fpuzzle decoder is older. So let's compare them. We'll have this one, right? And then we'll get the one from Sudoku data. Puzzle decoder. All right. And if I diff these, okay. Wait. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is quite old. All right. Ooh. Oh, okay. Let's see if we can reconcile these two. So that's the one on the server, while this is the one I've been using in Sudoku data. And I'm thinking this is the newer one. Ugh, it's got all this stuff in here. Can I just take all of that up to there, overwrite all of that up to there? If I do this, right, and I'll look at this, this should give me the full diff. And I don't like that you're changing carriage return line feeds here. All right, so what happens here now? So parse solution gets added. This gets, okay, so these were all deliberately commented out. Oop. Because otherwise they spam quite badly on the server side, which is obviously not desirable. Okay. Am I doing the wrong thing here? Yes, I am doing the wrong thing. All right. These, what happened here? Okay, the global stuff was added. Sure, that was a new feature. Diagonal minus if not f return. Okay, a couple of extra checks. Extra region. Okay, there was probably some issue with this. I mean, ultimately, I should update this to use whatever the engine is using in the front end. But yeah, okay, that's the change we're actually looking for. All right, let's continue. Small steps. Small, gentle steps. So, now this gets us this progress ID. That's fine. We're missing. I guess we can now output puzzle info once more with the rest of the data, which is all of this. All right, so I'm gonna just get rid of everything else because it should all be visible in that one puzzle info output. And that's ultimately what we want. We want one block of puzzle info with all the things in it, or we want an exception, and we know the data isn't correct. If I do this now, and we can get rid of the... why is there decomp? Where is that coming from? There's still a puzzle data and decomp. Is that coming out of here? Where's that decomp being logged? Decomp. Is it here? Yes. All right. And now, parse puzzle raw, bum, and we get the final thing with the notable exception of our short IDs, because this is short ID free. And the progress IDs, because we have like a bit of a Venn diagram here, because we can have the short ID associated with, like we have a puzzle with multiple short IDs, but if one of those short IDs gets added, imagine we have short IDs ABC in puzzles 1 and 2, and ABC is pointing to puzzle 1, and C and DEF points to puzzle 2. Imagine A is updated to point to puzzle 2, so we need to now remove the remove short ID A from puzzle 1, add it to puzzle 2, if the hashes match, right? And the same with the progress. No, the progress IDs don't change because the puzzle data itself doesn't change, right? So a puzzle info object doesn't change. When we're updating puzzle data, we're creating we're creating new objects, aren't we? Sort of, because if we're removing short IDs and then there's no short IDs remaining, we basically have an orphan puzzle, and that's when we basically remove the puzzle. In the future, we probably need to handle this more elegantly. Yeah. This is a bit of a odd one, because it's almost like we have independent IDs and objects, and they can crisscross all sorts of different ways. Not an ideal situation. Definitely not normalized, that's for sure. All right. Now the question is, does it make sense to have this up here? For example, is author used anywhere else? Because we can probably just do this then. Like, might as well, right? Same with counter ID here. And if we do this earlier, before puzzle info, we can just do that here like that. And we can basically get rid of that. We'll do that. We'll do that. Right? And then these four can actually go in here as well. I think short IDs probably wants to be before those. right? And I think the whole thing makes more sense syntax-wise here. Now, progress IDs. So this doesn't exist anymore. Progress IDs is going to be treated just like short IDs. Oh, wait. We want to do this here. Now, I'm not sure about trimming these. But I do like the idea of kind of normalizing stuff. But then somebody's going to create a puzzle where there's a space at the beginning of the author name, and it's going to be really important for some reason. Ugh. Alright, and then they'll just put it... I don't even think about it. They're going to put Unicode spaces in there that the trim doesn't remove or something. I don't know. Gives me a headache when I just think about it. Alright, we'll put the JSON ID in there. And I think we can just put these in here as well. I'll just put these all in there side by side like that. Ah, no, because we're checking if it's fpuz, right? Yeah. So if format as fpuz, we'll do that. And then at the end, we'll say puzzle info dot progress IDs equals new set puzzle info. Just to make sure it's singular. And if JSON goes down here, we might as well put it in earlier as well. Let's do this and this. I think short IDs actually, all the IDs, we want to have them early on. And then we have the format, then we have the big data, and then we have the rest. Something like this. And a hash should be unique, I believe. Because hash is the hash of puzzle data here. I think I'm going to spread this out a bit. It deserves this kind of treatment. Ah. That's why we had author and title pulled out like this. Because we needed it for counter ID. So if I do that author title... something like that. All right. And puzzle JSON. I guess we can just get that from JSON here. So that is no longer necessary either. Bing, bada, boom. All right. And then it'll just return this. At this stage, right? And this function probably should make its way into the importer as well. Okay. So now we have a data object. The problem is now we haven't handled the crisscross mergy stuff yet. So we have a data object now that represents the puzzle within our flow. And I'm gonna actually split this up. Something like that, something like that, something like that, something like that. Because now we're going back to create short ID, right? So we now have puzzle data. And now, here we now basically have to say, okay, we know the short ID is new. But is the puzzle new, right? So now we gotta check the hash. So let us do something like this. Check by... And I'm starting to wonder if... because this is an early escape. So really want to just, if short ID is not equal to null, we'll just throw new error. Something like that. Short ID does already exist. And then we don't have to do this else stuff. And we'll just continue. All right. So now we have the puzzle data, and we basically more or less do the same thing again. And we'll just say let doc. We're going to just reuse that. And we'll just do the same thing again, but this time we're going to check for a hash match. So now we're just going to say hash. Data.hash. And my music stopped. Even though it's supposed to keep playing. I don't know why. If I go next here. Yeah. For some reason, pressing next while you're in a playlist doesn't play from the playlist anymore. I don't know why you would do that. And I don't know why you keep changing the loop button. And it's not a video, it's a playlist of music. And if you keep changing it, and then me continuing to play, doesn't do the thing it's supposed to do, it's not helpful. All right. Let's output the doc. Boom. So, this means from our puzzle data here, we're doing a query based on the hash, and we found a match. The question is, yeah, so this is not the same object because this has a short ID, right? So this tells us this thing already exists. So in a case like this, let us check if any other things are the same as well. Obviously it would be nice to have clean test data because I'm sure there might be some cases where like a hash collision case, but generating them is hard. And the puzzle data might not actually be identical. Maybe, no, the puzzle data should be, but the puzzle raw might not be, right? So let's see, doc dot puzzle raw equals puzzle data dot puzzle raw. And besides puzzle raw, we'll check puzzle data as well. And puzzle raw is completely misspelled. Puzzle raw doesn't have an O in it. Okay, so they all match. And we'll obviously match the hash as well. Boom, boom, boom. The problem is, if we have a hash match but not a puzzle raw match, but a puzzle data match, is that something we should just ignore? Am I okay with losing different encoding versions of the puzzle? I think I am. I think I'm okay to just throw those out. So in this case, it already exists. And we'll just add the thing in. So at this point, if let me check what the hash is created from. Puzzle data itself. Now the problem is we could still have identical puzzles where puzzle data is different because, you know, they could literally just have a slightly different key order in the JSON or whatever. So you could create the same puzzle with two different encodings in the JSON. To avoid that, we'd have to normalize the puzzle. Right, well, we'll have to have some sort of feature identity, more or less. Which I don't necessarily... I mean, normalizing the JSON might not be that hard. You could just sort the keys and things like that. But there's so many ways of expressing the exact same puzzle with different puzzle data, you know? You can have meaningless cages. You can have invisible elements. You can have all sorts of things, right? So I think it's okay if we focus on this one. Now we know the hash is the same because that's what we did the search on, right? So if blah 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 console.log puzzle data already exists. And in this case, to do add short ID, right? But we also have the null case, right? So if doc equals null, now if the puzzle data doesn't match, so the third else will have a hash collision. Now, in the case of a hash collision, we're kind of SOL, right? SOOL. Because the problem is, if I throw back as an error, there's not much the user can do about it. I could manage it internally because I could manipulate the puzzle data exactly in the ways that I've mentioned earlier, and that would change the hash. But then the next time the same puzzle data gets provided, that wouldn't work, right? So I think in this case we're just gonna have to throw and handle it earlier, and then hopefully this is something best you can do without going overboard is to remove metadata that doesn't visually change the puzzle and then compare what remains. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, whatever I do, you can always find a way around it. So I don't think there's any sense on handling 5% of it or 10% or 20% of it. The problem is if I have a genuine hash collision, so the puzzles are different, but the hashes just happen to collide, I don't think I want to solve that in here by, let's say, manipulating the puzzle data to change the puzzle to make the hashes not collide, right? I think that's something this algorithm, this system cannot handle. It'll just throw higher up, and then it's something, you know, I'll see in my error logs, the user reports or whatever, and then I have to handle it out of bounds, right? But it's the case that it should never happen, right? I mean, these are SHA-1 hashes. They're not baby hashes. Yeah, and that should be puzzle info. So what we're really ending up is here. What we want to deal with is this. Let me see. It's a SHA-256, actually. Yeah, it's 256 bits. So if I have a collision there, I don't want to write code that deals with the near-on impossibility of a SHA-256 collision, basically. It'll happen so rarely I can manually deal it, and I don't want to waste time sort of trying to work with that. Yeah, it still needs to at least throw an error, right, and return and report an error back to the user. I think that's the least I can do. But then I can see it in my server logs, right? So we've got a hash collision. Whoops. So we have three cases. We have hash doesn't exist. So we're going to assume the puzzle doesn't exist because the hash is the way we find the puzzle. We find the hash and we match the puzzle data. Then we have to add the short ID. And in this case, I think we can just insert it. I think there's nothing else I need to check. all I need to do is add the short ID data. And in this case, I want to create the 2 timestamps as well. So to do insert new puzzle info, right? And we'll add the short ID. So we'll do puzzle info dot short IDs dot push short ID C time new date const C time date.now I think is not what we want here. And then we want modify time. I think end time we can leave out. We'll just set it when modification happens. Or do we want to have it always present? We can have it always present. That's fine. All right. Puzzle info, blah, blah, blah. Progress IDs. Oh, it has an undefined in there. Progress ID has an undefined in there. I don't like that. Yeah, I think we're gonna do this. If it's not ID, we're gonna normalize this at least somewhat. There's gonna be garbage data making its way in there, but let's normalize it somewhat. It's FPUZ though. Why does it not get progress IDs? What's going on here? What is going on here? Format. Isn't it an FPUZ format? Oh. Oh. It's JavaScript, of course. That is the problem. All right. Where are we at now? Puzzle info, progress IDs. Okay, we've got a progress ID in here. Format, yeah, okay. That's sorted. And now? Blup, 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 blup. Puzzle data already exists. Add short ID. Because we're not hitting this case, this test case. All right, let's deal with this one then. I'm tempted to just inline that, even if I'm doing more work than necessary by executing date twice. I think that might be worth it for me. So we're adding short IDs here. And is this what we're testing? Okay. And if we run the other test, I think it's fog01. Boom. Bloop. It does already exist. Oh, yeah, no, that's not what we wanted to change. We wanted to use the new thing, but we also need puzzle data that doesn't exist yet. Let us maybe if I go to one of these, the New York Times puzzles should be really small, right? Normalize to SudokuPad. Oh. SudokuPad. Here we go. I wonder which puzzle would be smaller. The hard one or the easy one? 239 bytes. They seem to be identical in size. Two, 3, 9. Why? Failed to no data found. What? That's bizarre. Why does it not show the resources there? I hate this inconsistency. And now it's only 900 bytes. Why? Disable cache. Headers. 200 okay. But it says 239 and it says no failed to load response data. Huh? That's so weird. Alright, if I open this in a new tab, can I get some information now? 902 bytes, and this one is 903 bytes. Okay, they're almost identical. So for our test, we can now try this one. And run that. Alright, so in this situation, we now want to want to create this short ID with this puzzle data. It doesn't find the puzzle data. No, it says puzzle data already exists. What? 5? Oh, why we are at 20? Can we go to 26? That should definitely not exist on my local database. Boom. Does not exist. Here we go. So short ID does not exist. Step 2. Puzzle should not exist. Puzzle data already exists. Console the log. Let's just log this. So, to do insert new puzzle info. So we want to create, and that'll be a good test because then we can add the other short ID as well and see if that works. Like, that's a weird thing, is that we need to be able to create a puzzle twice, and creating the same puzzle with a new short ID turns into an update of the short ID rather than doing an actual update call. There's something bizarre about this, and it makes me nervous that I'm setting myself up for some big trouble down the line. But I think as long as I control the API, I can potentially unravel this mess further down the line. I might have to normalize this stuff, and I might even go to an SQL database if this hurts my head too much down. I'm not gonna say down the line again in the future. All right, where are we at? We want to look at short IDs. We've got a new short ID, and in this case, it's a brand new puzzle. So we want to do an insert. And since I just do the bulk inserts, I'm actually gonna look this one up. I need that. That's fine. I guess it's like insert 1. Oh no, not W3 schools. Ugh. Is it just insert, I guess? Insert 1, yeah. So we just do this, and then we'll do let res equals await blah blah blah. Console.log res. All right. Haiku. Sure. Let's just copy the sample code 1 to 1. Okay. Res is undefined. I don't know how I feel about that. But can we query for the short ID? So short IDs. We basically want to do this, right? Which, man, I hate the syntax. And the short ID is this one. Bada bing, bada boom. Find. And this is the new thing we've just inserted. Without any of the metadata that I want to add. All right. Now, if I run it again, we now get a short ID or collision. All right. Now, short ID already exists. Means we can't create a short ID like that. Okay, that's fair. We don't care about what the puzzle data is. Okay. Okay, now if we run the test with the same puzzle data, but a new short ID, it should kick into the other branch. And the other branch will do this. And after we do that, it should have. Oh yeah, okay. So now we basically need to figure out how we'll update. And did the music stop again? Are you gonna? It's not even on the playlist anymore. Are you gonna play this playlist, please? How can I get it to play this bloody playlist on loop and not leave the playlist? God damn it, just stay on this playlist. All right, update and replace update a document. So I guess it's update 1. Update 1. Why not just update? Why update 1 and update many? Why not just have update and then if you pass in an array, it's many. If anyway. All right, update 1. So we need a filter. And the update doc is a partial thing. All right, so what we really need to do here is we don't need to do this. We'll do this. Update 1. My God, why is this window so narrow? This drives me crazy that I have to scroll side to side and have all this empty space here. HTML was a mistake, I'm telling you. CSS especially. So I have to do this now. I feel so dumb. All right. Sorry. I'll stick to it. Okay. What we got? Update doc. But how do I add update date array? Update insert new item into array. Push. So you'll do an update with a select. So we'll do an update 1. We'll filter by. Can I not just freaking update this document? Like, I have a reference to the document. Node.js, save changed document. I don't want to run through these stupid operations. New document each time rather than updating existing document. So I can just do save on the document. Can I get a reference for these things? Not quick reference, like a full reference, not partial examples. Like a document here, right? So I should be able to just modify the document and then just call save on it. Can I? Oh, Jesus Christ, this documentation is terrible. Document. So what does collection.save do? Right concern. A document expressing the right concern. Okay. What is a right concern? Just frickin' tell me. Don't send me somewhere else. Either insert or update command, which uses default right concern. To specify different right concern, include the right concern in the options parameter. God damn it. All right, so we should be able to, instead of doing this. Yeah, the problem is ChatGPT knows its stuff from reading, Googling documentation. So in my experience, it's exactly as bad as all the documentation. And if you insist and tell it, hey, that's not documentation. If a simple question like, what are all the possible values for this parameter? Or what are all the possible keys for this configuration or options object? ChatGPT will not be able to answer that to you. All right, so we should be able to just say save doc, right? And before we do this, we'll do this doc.shortIDs. We'll do that twice, and we'll do dot push our new short ID, just like what we did here. If I do that, we'll go from 1 to 2, and then we can do this. Like that. And it's not a function. Oh, it's literally on db.collection. All right. Not what I expected. Collection.save is not a function. Great. Let's test ChatGPT. You see, it doesn't actually answer the question. This is not how you save a change to a document. It's telling me to run an update, and it's spitting out pages of stuff for the wrong answer. Can you stop? It's a very simple. If I say that to a human, they won't answer this. If I tell a human how to park a car, they're not going to tell me to get on a horse. Like, I don't need it to tell me npm install mongoose. What does that have to do with my question? What the fuck? And it's going back to replace and all this stuff. No, I don't want to... And that's what usually happens. And then I spend half an hour babysitting it, in which time I could have just figured it out myself. It's like dealing with not just a junior, but like a student intern, and you have to teach them most of what you're asking them to do. Like, it's obviously not doing what I'm asking it to do. No way did it look at this and figured out that this only answers my question. So, for example, here it's saying db.users.save, which is exactly what I tried. And it says save is not out of function. So it's making the same mistakes. Well, it's giving me a response in JavaScript, which is obviously not correct. Now, to be fair, it is using a very different syntax. So let's see, its DB object, what exactly does that reference? Because Mongo itself uses JavaScript, and Python and JavaScript are similar enough. But that's the other thing. I wanted to get to the point to see, okay, maybe .save works in Python, not in JavaScript. Then I would have checked that. But we're 10 pages in, and only now are we slowly approaching the code. So the thing is, I don't know if DB here... Yeah, so DB does not reference the collection. So I don't think db.puzzleinfo is a thing, but I'll try it. I don't think that works. Oh, it does. db.puzzleinfo. No, it's undefined. Yeah, so that doesn't work. So it immediately starts making exactly the mistakes that all the documentations make. It's not smarter than the documentation it's operating for. There's no way it could be. Okay, well, DB collection is what I tried. I've already tried what it's telling me to do, which is also the wrong syntax, by the way. So this also doesn't work. That's the thing. I've never found ChatGPT to be smarter than the Google responses, and Google responses are really bad. Yeah. And it'll give me the same runaround. It'll tell me the same things that the documentations say. It'll just spit out the same incorrect stuff over and over and over. And now it's back to a replace call. I wanted to tell me why it thought save would work and why it's not working. Aha. All right. So that's actually useful. So save is a operation on Mongoose, except I'm not looking at Mongoose documentation here. Yeah, except that's not where I got it from. All right. So let's see. Insert, update, create a custom value, delete documents, modify documents. Okay, so replace one. All right. perform an update to one. So what? The normal Node.js driver does. I cannot just modify the document and just save it. That's dumb. Because the syntax of this stuff is super nasty. Like if I want to insert something into an array, like a key into an area of objects, like it blows my head off trying to figure that out. And I'm pretty sure in the past I've just modified the document. But I guess I can just replace the whole document into it, which is dumb. So the question then becomes, can I use replace one without a filter? But I'd like to point out that I spent more time with JetGPT than I would have spent just looking at the rest of the docs here, reading these titles. So let's see, replace one query. I don't want to. Why would I have to run a query? I have a literal ID. Mongoose. Replace a document. Update existing document. Man, this syntax is just... This is what I remember when I first worked with MongoDB and why I didn't like it. Because it's so backwards. And then in the end, you're just rebuilding SQL stuff. Just with worse syntax. Can I just pass the whole thing in? So can I just say underscore ID equals doc dot underscore ID and doc? Like if I run that and I spell the function name correctly. The fact that res is undefined also bothers me. But now if I do this and I now have two short IDs. So it does work. So I think I'll stick with that for now. Yeah, I probably should. But, you know, I'll try to be modern. And obviously, I don't have much of a schema, so... The nice thing with Mongo is obviously that I could literally have the JSON off. I literally have the JSON as part of the document. So I could potentially query documents by... future things like, hey, give me all the documents that contain hints, right? Or give me the average number of killer cages in all puzzles, you know, that kind of stuff. It's probably silly, and I probably shouldn't bother with that. All right. So these basically work now. And the results here aren't important, apparently. I don't know. You see, that's the other thing, right? What are the possible returns from insert one? I don't think JetGPT will be able to tell me what are all the possible return values from .insert one. Using the to an insert one result object. Except, I didn't get such an object. Let's see. Using the it returns a promise that results to an update result object. But it does not. For me, it returned undefined. You see, it'll just say stuff. It doesn't engage with what I'm saying. It just, you know, it's just smart autocomplete, right? To be honest, I found NoSQL to be slower than relational because you don't have the benefits of it. Relational has been optimized for a long time. Why does it start with npm install MongoDB? Like, in what world is that a good response? Holy shit. Excuse my French. Holy moly. How does that have anything to do with what I said? Yeah, I know what it should return, but it's not. It's returning undefined. Oh, wait, no. It's a different res. Oh, man. Okay, never mind. Thanks, JetGPT. You were right. I'm wrong. I was looking at the wrong res. Okay, that's the res one level down. That's the problem with my things. So, I guess I need to error check this. So, I think we did add short ID, which is this one. So, if res.acknowledged is not equals true, or res.modified count is not equal 1, throw new error. Oh, geez. All right. Unexpected result from replace 1. JSON.stringify res. Now, I guess that error, I can just let it filter through to the other end. Let us run the test quickly with... let me just get rid of that. We had this puzzle. Was this easy or hard? This was hard. Let's do this. And this is the test for a brand new puzzle that doesn't have anything. Okay. Res has already been declared. Oh? Oh. Unexpected result from replace 1. Insert 1. Okay, so we want acknowledge true, and we want to have an inserted ID. And insert ID is not equals undefined. Okay. Already exists. All right. Now, if we go back to this, oh yeah, we haven't dealt with the short ID collision yet. No, that was already clear. Because we're checking for short ID at the beginning. Okay. So I think that actually does it. And then I think at the end, we can just output that. Right? And we don't actually need to handle the error here. We'll handle the error on the other end. Right? Okay. And if I say new 4, boom. Res is collection. That's not what I wanted to return. Yeah, I don't like my naming here. Next puzzle info. It's like, what do you name a singular item from a database? I guess puzzle infos, but that's a puzzles info. I hate naming things. I hate naming things so much. All right, let's do that. Where we at? Where we at? Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm not waiting for my girlfriend today. She's having dinner at her dad's. So we do puzzle raw, and then puzzle info progress IDs gets output somewhere. Probably in here. No, not maybe in here. Puzzle parse puzzle raw. So we will probably do that. All right. And we'll make a new 06. Boom. And now we're running the test. Doing a create short ID. Does not exist. And we get back to here. Okay, so now this is running through our test here. Now if we go back to our going through the actual web server. So for example, doing this. Test new 7. What do we get? We're getting to does not exist. Boom, boom, boom. Res. And create short ID gets executed from here. And then create link, create short ID, res, yep. And then, where prior we used to write to the file system. So we definitely need to do a... Do we want to catch here? Yes. So we'll do a try. Catch. Like that. So here, if we're successful, we're going to return success short ID. And this would be Puzz next. Actually, we're just going to return short ID because we don't know which of those short IDs we're going to need. And in the case of an exception, we'll output something with an error. Or we just throw. And then wherever we're calling this, we're getting to here. Okay, so we can just let the throws be thrown. And we don't actually catch. Right? Short, yeah. The one thing we haven't handled here yet is if short ID is not provided. And short ID exists. So if short ID equals find if I do this, right? Shirt ID, and we'll run something like this without a short ID. So if it's undefined, we gotta run through yeah, the problem is if a short ID isn't provided, the puzzle might still exist. Ah, create puz info. Create puz info. Does that generate a short ID? Yes, short ID create. Short ID create. Puzzle. Create short ID. Should we do that here? Sorry, I'm kind of stuttering here. Basically, if we don't pass a short ID, we could generate the short ID here, and then the returned puzzle would have only one short ID. So, but that's kind of what we'd have to handle, because we cannot just pick the first short ID. We want to return the short ID that was provided. If none was provided, then we pick a short ID. I guess it should always be the last one. Yeah, I guess short ID creation should be handled in here. So if I do something like generate short ID, something like that, right? And we'll pass in the puzzle, just in case in the future part of the short ID might depend on puzzle data. See you, Ranks. Have a good morning, day, evening. I'm not sure. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. So here we should be able to just call create short ID. So let short ID equals short ID puzzle. It's always hard to do something in something you don't know very well when you know lots of things really well. It's a bit annoying. So we'll do this. Generate short ID puzzle. I do this and then run this, right? Generate short ID. So it generates a short ID. And then we'll do this check here. Are we even using this at the moment? No. We'll worry about that later. So we'll do something like short ID tries. We'll do something like c dot try short IDs equals 10. And we'll do something like this. Or let tries equals boom, while tries minus minus is greater than 0. Ooh. This is right. Where does that leave us? 98765 blah 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 is greater than 0. 9, 8, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 tries. Okay. And we'll do this. We'll do all these. We'll do that. We'll do that. And then we'll do we'll do that. And that should give us false 10 times, right? Because we're not expecting these to happen, but they could. I'm not using that many bits of something. So if doc equals null, return short ID, else throw new error, unable to generate new short ID. Right? So that should generate us the short ID. And we can either use it on the outside or we can use it on the inside. So in here, we'll basically want to do if short ID, if short ID equals undefined, short ID equals this dot wait this dot. Now what I don't like is it gives us a little bit of latency because this query takes some time. But I guess that's all right. I think that's all right. I think we'll just do that, no? If we do puzzle by short ID, we really kind of want to do the because this one encapsulates our the file API as well. Yeah, well, in the moment here, I'm only worrying about the database, which I think is fair enough. That's probably how I should operate, anyways. Everything else should be then handled separately. All right. Gonna call it a day soon. It's getting late. I forgot that I need to take care of my own food today. Now, the question is, where... we're doing it here, right? So we'll never be in a situation where that is a problem. So what we'll have to do is, after this, we'll have to do something like that. And then if short ID equals undefined, short ID equals puzznext dot short IDs 0 dot short ID. And then I'll output it again. Right? And if I now do this. But didn't we in the past, we wanted to return a existing short ID. Ooh. So we don't really just want to generate short ID. We want to have... but that's encapsulated now, isn't it? So what do we get here? We get... Oh, why? I'm not pressing buttons. What's going on? Short ID underscore. Oh, because of this. Yeah, okay. Short IDs is an empty array for puzzle next. Wait, what? That shouldn't be possible. Return next puzzle info. Short IDs dot push. So at this point, console.move, console.log, ID. How is this possible? How is this possible exactly? All right, let's do this again. Cannot read hours undefined, reading short ID. Okay, fair enough. Great short ID, short ID. Short IDs. Find one. Okay. Let's output the result of this. Why do I always have to manually scroll it down? It's annoying. Unexpected token. So that's false. So we're getting to here. Oh, because we're not returning doc. Okay. We kind of want to do that then. And now it should return this mess, which makes sense, to be fair. I would expect this particular puzzle to have many short IDs already. And it adds a new one, so 5, 8. It returns the first one. What's the short ID that was created? 3G. It's the last one. Okay, so two things. We want to return the last one. Nope. God, can I just copy this, paste this, subtract 1? And we basically want to make sure that if the puzzle already exists, that we reuse a short ID that already exists when there's no short ID, which means which means we don't want to jump out to this one because we actually want to... I think we always want to parse the puzzle. Even if the short ID already exists. Do we want to run this first? I'm just starting to think because this might be faster than parsing the puzzle. But if the puzzle is invalid, we probably want to break out earlier. So we probably actually want to do this first. No, not this. This. So if we do this first, right? And then we can say, hey, if short ID is undefined, like that, throw new error, create short ID. And if we do this, we get to that error. And now we can say, hey, no. Yes, we can do that now. Okay, we need the doc temp here after all. Because now what we can do is we can search not for short IDs, but for the hash. Excuse me. Tickle in the throat. Right? And then we can do do that. If I run that now, is not equal to is true. We just want to create grab one of those short IDs. We actually don't want to do any of these other things then. Let me think. We want to short circuit a bunch of this stuff actually. So if short ID is undefined, we want to jump to the because we never have to actually update the short ID then. We could actually throw here and then let it be sorted out on the other end. The only problem is sorting out error types is actually a bit annoying. Because having the short ID actually, we want to return that as a success. Is it fair to just return the doc here? Like, if doc is not equal to no, turn doc. Otherwise, boom, short ID equals, wait, create short ID. And then we proceed from here. And this is an else to this. Yeah, it does get a little bit nitty-gritty quite quickly. I want to do so many different kinds of checks. If the short ID exists, error, and you're out. So we kind of actually want to invert these. We want to do this. Right. else find the hash. We only kind of need to do that in this case, actually. Except we're already doing that here. We're already doing that here. So we're actually kind of already doing that here. So if short ID is not undefined, we'll just check. Do we want to exit early? Right. Now we create next puzzle info. We could basically wrap this into a if short ID exists kind of call, right? Now we'll do the hash check. So these were there before. If doc is unequal to null, we basically have a hash collision. If doc is unequal to null, if short ID equals undefined, and that if short ID equals undefined, then if doc is not equal to null, return doc. We don't need to do anything else. Else short ID equals await generate short ID. Right, and this is the same as that. Okay. And now we're back in line with what we had added. So all we added is this little thing where before we proceed with all of this, we make sure we have a short ID. Or we exit out if we don't need it. And on the other end, we should be good without a short ID. Standard properties undefined reading short ID. Where did that error come from? Undefined reading short ID 145. 145. Admin create link. If how's next? Short IDs. How's next? The short IDs -1 dot short ID. What? Whoop. What? Dot length. Got it. And let's do it again. Boom. More and more short IDs. So now it should return this short ID in the end. And this should come back with this short ID. And that should work. Okay. I think that's exactly where we're back with this. And now I think we're handling all the same cases. Yeah, that's the only little niggle. Like, these function calls will probably roll into PuzzleDB eventually. I guess the only thing this does, it extracts the API key handling and all that stuff. All right, I think I'm gonna call it here. I gotta take care of myself. I'm so used to waiting for my girlfriend to let me know when to stop streaming. I don't think there's much that's worthwhile doing as a test, since I'm not actually releasing anything here. I gotta hack away at this. But I think what we have right now works pretty well. I'm just worried I'm implementing the old behavior with a new system, where the new system is much more capable. So, and it being kind of in this denormalized state, I hope I'm not gonna shoot myself in the foot having to deal with a mess of, like, even thinking about it this way, as it is right now, like, you know, does this make sense, right? The advantage of this is, of course, that as it is set up right now, we should never get duplicate short IDs. But, like, even getting a list of all the short IDs is gonna be a bit of a pain in the ass. So the short IDs, I feel like, almost should be a separate list. I don't actually know if I can even index on these properly. Huh. Yeah, probably the short IDs need to move into their own list later on. So I'm denormalizing at the moment, but I probably want to normalize some of it. But that's fine. That's fine. At least now we have a place where to put all that code. All right, I'm gonna call it a day here. I gotta push through this, finish this, and the update call. The update call should be much. Ironically, the update call is actually easier. And then I'll probably need to put a compatibility layer on it to look at the existing data somehow. The advantage is I probably don't need to look at the existing data for any of the update calls. Probably what I'll do is, if the data, if I can't find in the database, load it from the file, if it exists. And then everything else just works purely on the database. So I don't necessarily need to sync up the files anymore. And writing the files from this database should also be relatively trivial. In fact, we can implement these as symlinks. I'm not sure if that'll be a problem. 112,000 symlinks or whatever. Hey. Anyway, we're getting there. We're getting there. And how big is this right now? It's about 400 megs. That's manageable. Grows pretty fast though. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out, Ranks. Thank you for stopping by. And in the meantime, take care. Enjoy your puzzles.